And it said, there we go. It says we are live on December 11th. Thank you for your help. For the Westlake Charter School December 2025 board meeting. Board President Golick, you have the YouTubes.
Thank you. If you're home, well, obviously, hopefully you're home watching, you can always email your comments to admin@westlakecharter.com. We'll make every effort to read them in during the meeting. In the subject line, put the item you're commenting on, and then please try to keep your overall comments to 250 words. If they're not read in during the meeting, they'll be added to the minutes. With that, Amy, will you please take the roll?
Yes. Hope?
Here.
Sean?
Here.
Josh? Satvir?
Here.
Sally?
Here.
Amber?
Here.
Suzanne?
Here.
Nurali? Katie?
Here.
Perfect. Celebrations.
Oh, who would like to go? First one to go wins
Sally
nothing.
wins.
Oh, Sally wins.
Right. Professional celebration. Our parking lot is full right now because there's a ball game going on.
That's
and
right.
Christmas lights. There's families loading up the cars and decorating their cars so they can go take a walk around the neighborhood. Personally, my mom got lost in the woods when we were out hunting Christmas trees over Thanksgiving break, and my celebration is that the search and rescue volunteers of Nevada County came out in force to find my mom. It was
Wow.
It's an incredible story, and she's fine. She was fine.
Yeah. Buried the lead there.
Yeah, she was lost for 6 hours. And
Oh, wow.
there were 6 of us running the trails and the woods trying to find my mother. And she just went down the wrong trail. She wasn't hurt or anything, but we had to let search and rescue take over.
Well,
and
thank goodness
they
for
had
search and rescue.
K9 and e-bikes and drones and helicopter, and it was hardcore. You want to volunteer for a really cool organization.
That is amazing.
Search and
That is
rescue.
amazing. Who would like to follow that? We'll go on one way or the other. Sanchez, you got one with us?
I'm
Sean, would you turn on that mic?
I'm thinking about Westlake, and I think that team is always the theme, and I'm playing on a lot of teams, and everyone has just a lot of passion about what we do and how we do it.
Love me some Westlake. Sean, what are you celebrating?
I'll celebrate cookies and hot cocoa brought by the lovely Amy Wells,
Thank you,
which
Ms. Wells.
makes any meeting awesome.
Yeah, love it. Steve Corby, you want to play?
Yeah, the just community as well, and the out showing our support for Joey's Food Locker. Community really stepped up and brought forward a lot, and I know Joey's Food Locker really appreciated it. So
Yeah.
thank you to everyone who donated.
Yeah, I'd just like to shout out on top of that to Joey's Food Locker, when it opened up years and years and years ago at Natomas High School by Joel Schwieger, who founded that program. Natomas High School, a special education teacher. Maybe if they fed 30 families on Thanksgiving, it was a big deal. Just an infant little program. Over Thanksgiving this last month, Joey's Food Locker fed 1,100 families, and each one of them got a full turkey along with a bag of whatnots. Just what an impact. Big shout out to Joel Schwieger and his legacy. Joey's Food Locker is named after his son, Joey, who passed many, many years ago now. But yeah, what an impact. Love that celebration. Thanks, Steve. Saver, you want to play?
I'll celebrate. I got 2. The first one is for the exemplary awards that came out recently.
Yeah.
My first grader got one.
Of core
shout out
values.
to all the teachers and the counselors who put that together in the cafeteria, or in the gym, sorry. And the second one is to the principal, Jennifer Block. It's super cold in the mornings right now,
Yeah.
and she is cutting the the morning lineups to like 5 minutes minimum.
Yeah.
Just everybody show up in line, pledge allegiance, and you're in an
Let's
altitude
go.
class, and that's a huge shout out. 'Cause it's super cold out there.
That's great. I love it.
That reminded me, a couple of weeks ago I missed our last meeting because I was at a conference, and on the way to the conference I got a call from the school. My 6th graders here. I need to talk to Suzanne Marzak. Sophie's here in the office, and I'm like, that's weird. Like,
got
she's
caught.
the kid that never gets in trouble for anything. And I'm like, what happened? Did somebody hurt her? And they were like, oh, and she was trying to play it off, but it was a good call home, but they were trying to scare me. And it was so cute. But it was nice because I think so many times we think the calls home are going to be bad, but to have a good call home about what a great student she was a joy.
I love it. I love it. They tried to get you on that one. Okay.
I'll use my same one. We had to use the 311 app today for the city of Sacramento, and they were out to the house within an hour, and we had 3 trucks and 6 city workers fixing our water meter main. And just the fact that they showed up and came out so quickly and were so responsive, and at this day and age, I'm not sure that public employees get the shout outs they deserve. So.
Yeah, love that. I know I drone on about strategic plan data, but I just have to say, yesterday we had staff focus groups at the K-8, and the day before that we had staff focus groups at the high school. And like, I wish an administrative job on anybody who wants it. It's a great gig. I have just the best job, right? I've been in this industry for 30 years. But I am like the luckiest administrator I know. Our rooms were filled with people who were so vulnerable and so willing to be like, hey, you're asking, let me tell you the pain points of this job. I love this organization. Here's how we can get better. And like, it ain't easy, I don't think, to sit in front of your boss and be like, hey, these are the things that make it tough to be here. And it was awesome. I mean, we had 3 full rooms of teachers, counselors, staff after school yesterday, and it was supposed to end at 4. It just went a little long because we had so much to talk about. It was the staff focus groups were phenomenal. We got a lot of good data from it, so it felt great. AW plan. Yeah, talk about your buddy. Yeah.
Sorry, governance, you have to hear it again. We have a lot of weird things that happen in the back office, lots, on the daily. And I can't wait to retire because I'm going to write a really great book about all the things that come through the office. Today was the best. We have a little one who is a proud owner of a hamster. And this morning she was worried about the hamster. And so she packed up the hamster, put it in her backpack in its little cage thing, put it in her backpack and smuggled it to school without mom knowing. And nobody at school knew until about halfway through the day. Somebody figured it out, and she came to the office, and we had to like peek in the backpack to see what was in there, and it was her hamster. And so Ms. Patel did a great job of negotiating surrender of the hamster for the rest of the day with the caveat that she could come visit it in the office. We have never, I've been here for 20 years now, have never had a hamster come to school in a backpack. It was absolutely the best.
It was in the backpack.
In the backpack.
And they're like, hey, do you know the hamster's there? No, she did not. She did. She brought the hamster.
And then we were asked to go check the older sister's backpack because maybe she had hers too.
Oh, yeah.
She did not have
I thought maybe she brought the cat.
Yeah,
Because
right.
that would be great. Bring them all into Patel's office.
It was the best.
That was great. You said you would bring us home.
Never have I ever with Amy.
Yeah, right. Because she's seen it all.
I got it.
I'm also going to celebrate the same thing I shared in governance. Last night was the cross-country banquet, and it was just a lovely night. Mr. Schoenberg and Mr. Lennon they just gave out a lot of awards. They spoke about every student there, and the team is, I think, over 40 runners now this last year. The room that we had was around this size, and we could barely move. That's how many people were there, and it was just a lovely group of people, and they did a great job, and I know everybody felt really appreciated. And then, we had our first team ever make it to state, so that was a big celebration as well. So anyway, it was a great night.
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
Perfect. Any comments for items not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll go to public comments. Ms. Mendez, is anyone at the high school to make a public comment?
There's no one at the high school wanting to make a comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mendez.
Any emails, Amy?
There are none.
Perfect. That will bring us to our reports, and first up is the WAVE report.
Fantastic. I have a video from our WAVE president, Felix Flores. I think it's this tab right here. Google's changed a few things on me today, so there we go. You sound great, but I'm going to just turn the audio on so we can actually hear you. Sorry, sir. Clickety-click. And now.
Felix Flores, your WAVE president, here with a quick update as we wrap up the calendar year and head into the holidays. It's been an incredible first half of the school year filled with some successful events, strong parent engagement, and just really a strong sense of collaboration across our community. I want to take a moment to share where WAVE is focusing its efforts over the next few months and just thank you all for your continued support. First off, it's just sponsorships. We see this as a unique opportunity for growth and impact for WAVE. We recently held an initial summit to explore some sponsorship levels and create ways that local businesses can support our work. Our motivation behind sponsorships is twofold. One is to strengthen our business and community connections, and then one, identify ways to offset some operating costs that are, we feel, low list for WAVE, but have high value for our partners. We're excited to develop this a little bit further in early 2026 and then share what those opportunities could look like as they start to come in fruition. Next up is just on parent communication. We've been reflecting on the impact of our Instagram, Facebook group, and email outreach over the last year and a half, and looking just say how can we continue to inform our families and have them connected through the channels that we're using right now. In January, we'll be hosting a communication kind of social media summit to gather some ideas and discuss improvements in those areas. We're also considering kind of a review of the Wave website as it is to make sure it's as effective and user friendly as possible. Um, Thirdly, our focus is on budget planning for the 26-27 school year. I feel like it's already coming around, even though we're not even done with this school year yet. We've been holding monthly discussions on our operating budget and plan to have a draft ready by March so it's prepared for the board's review on our end before elections in April. We're also looking forward to seeing the results of the school's strategic plan, especially around where WAVE can best align with the school, whether that's through more fundraising, less fundraising, classroom engagement, or community building overall. We just want to make sure that we stay aligned with the school and help focus our efforts to where they matter the most to the school. International festival. Obviously, it's a big deal. It takes a lot of work. We had a really successful international festival last year. We're starting planning early this time. We'll begin in January and are currently recruiting our planning committee around that. We have a lot of lessons learned and positive energy coming out of these last few events that we've done at WAVE, and so we're excited to make this one even more special for Westlake and its families. So in the meantime, we've got a few fun community events coming up. We got movie night this week, volunteer appreciation night next week, and then we're planning our first coffee talk at the high school in January. As we close out 2025, I just want to thank you all for your partnership, your leadership, and continued support of the WAVE mission. On behalf of the entire WAVE team, just happy holidays, and here's to another great year of exploring with each other.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Felix Flores, WAVE president.
Okay, Charter Impact and Development both didn't meet this month, so Sean with Finance. Sorry, it was quick.
So finance did meet, that's why I'm talking. And we got a presentation on first interim budget from Steve and recommended that it be brought forth to the board, and it is on our agenda for this evening.
Perfect. Governance also met. We reviewed 3 policies and also recommended their adoption to the board. They'll be on the agenda here next month. With that, I'm going to kick it over to Dr. Ike.
Bet it looked like a short agenda today, huh? All right. Well, I got all kinds of fun. Let's see. Let's dive in and talk a little celebrations, strategic actions, and updates. What do we got? I don't know if you all know Lizzie Edmondson, but she is the most phenomenal human being you'll ever meet. She works over at the high school, but she really is on the K-12. She does all of the scheduling for all of the things on our Student Support Services program, and she is the support staff member of the year for our charter SELPA. Now, the El Dorado County Charter SELPA serves like 500 charter organizations up and down the state of California, so I'm assuming there's 499 other Lizzies out there that are probably pretty awesome, but none of them as awesome as our Lizzie Edmondson. Now, this is the first time this organization has given out this particular award, so she will be like the inaugural, very first time this award's gone out, the full state wide conference, and they'll be holding this conference over here with Shelley Moore, who's the phenomenal educator and influencer in the field of fully inclusive practices. So we'll be sending some people to this opportunity to help celebrate Lizzie, who will be there. So if you see her, if you know her, give her a little love. She deserves it. She's amazing. Speaking of amazing. If you haven't watched the Metal Benders compete on YouTube, this is a screenshot off the YouTubes with our Metal Benders competing in the most recent competition. They took, I think, 4th out of a run of 16, and then the way the competition works is the top 3 get to pair up with another group, and so they got to pair up and kind of made it to this to the semifinals round. And they're just a fantastic group of students doing really amazing work. And Ramon Paredes, the STEM teacher at the high school, leads that group. And what a great celebration. They're going to be competing in Folsom coming up in the next month-ish. So that's coming right up. Lottery outreach, we'll talk a little bit about tonight, but postcards are in the mail, social media is out, and it's just great to get our word out about who we are and why people should want to sign up for us.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
I love seeing the graduating seniors on there, right, for the first time.
I know.
That's just
Yeah. Well, so we updated the postcard this year. And we're like, oh, what pictures? And we had to get some graduation pictures in there. Yeah, I love that. Love that so much. Yes, it is college application season at Westlake Charter High School. We know that we are looking to make sure that every single student who graduates from our high school is college and career ready, and that's why our college graduate or college or high school graduation requirements include A to G. And one college course. So it's great. At the high school right now, our counselors are meeting with students, making sure that you have what you need to apply, including financial support if your student isn't able to apply because of finances. We make sure that we take care of that because every child who graduates from our program should be able to apply to a four-year college. If they get a letter and decide, I've been accepted to college, I don't want to go to college, that should be their decision. They should never say, I couldn't go to college because my high school didn't prepare me. So I think that's a really important metric for us. I'm really proud of the work there. I know there's still some tears in 8th grade over losing the golden spoon. I know that's a big deal. But, oh, my gosh, if you could zoom in on this picture here, the exuberant, 9th and 10th grade team led by the amazing Ms. Montes with the Costco theme here at Chili Cook-Off. They won the phenomenal community event, well attended, and the chili was, as always, phenomenal. Connector and Coder, the YouTubies just look like they cut out for a second. Hey, if you're at home on the YouTubes and we stopped working every once in a while, we've been having some internet issues here at the site today. So it looks like it came back up. We celebrated Joey's Food Locker, and we've celebrated our fall food drive. Just big shout out to all of our community members who donated said food. I mean, here's our leadership students on both campuses, carrying all this out to Ashley Cahigas's car as she drives across town and unloads it. We have such a great relationship with the team over at Joey's Food Locker. They're always very happy to see Cahigas come rolling in. But great job, everybody, on the food drive. And here are our girls varsity team who made it to state. There's 6 of them, I believe. 6 or 7, who ran at the state level. I mean, that is. Oh, did you say 6, 7? I just did it. I just did that. Yeah, there's like 6, 7 girls on the varsity. That was for all of you middle schoolers. Team who made it to state, and it was just what a phenomenal celebration. On a just very yes, it's great for our school, but on a personal level, the coaches were texting back and forth with some of us on the admin team on the day of, and it was like almost surreal. These kids just felt so honored to represent our school at the state level. So good job, team. We're really proud of you guys for sure. Let's dive in and do some strategic actions. I think we're going to talk strategic plan development, professional development, and its alignment to our academic outcomes, and then monitoring governance progress. This is just kind of an update on where we are. Later, I'm going to run a little small strategic plan workshop with you and try to get you involved. But here's where we are in the development process right now. The admin team worked on it. I think it was December 4th. Had a 4-hour workshop to define emergent themes from the family data. So they read through the 2,000 quotes. They were all coded into the code book. They read through all the family focus group data, and they had to look through the quantitative data and find and bring emergent themes on little Post-it notes. And then we did some analysis of the family data. They started analyzing the staff data in a similar manner. They'll meet on January 5th for that. Staff focus groups were held this week, which I celebrated earlier. And on January 5th, we'll hold this workshop with admin. What you'll see today at the board meeting is the emergent themes that came out of our workshop. And so you'll get to work on the family data tonight here. And then I would assume at the January board meeting, we would do something similar with the staff data. Yes, ma'am?
The middle school staff was very positive. It was received very positively that they were asked and invited and encouraged by their peers and administration to attend and communicate, and we talked about it at lunch today afterward, and everybody kind of shared from their room what it felt like, and it felt really good. It felt positive. So thank you for allowing that opportunity for all of us to be heard.
Yeah, I love that. You and I, Mrs. Hubbard and I spoke. I think it's incredibly important from a shared leadership standpoint that the organization and the leaders of the org hear the experiences of the staff. But I think it's equally important that the staff feel heard, right? It's like it's a win-win. I mean, it's really important. So yeah, I'm glad that people walked away with that feeling of like, okay, cool, we felt good speaking the truth in the room. It was good. There were some great truth bombs. I don't think there's any surprises. There's some like, oh yeah, that feels true. That's a thing right there we got to work on, which I can't wait to do the work, man. I want to kind of dive into professional development and its alignment to our strategic outcomes. You know, we've been talking a little bit about that dashboard. We all know that if we are successful on the dashboard this year in a particular way, we'll meet high track for the state of California. It's a big deal for us. We also know that we're green in math, we're blue in LP, the English language progress indicator, but we're yellow in ELA. And so what are we doing about it, right? What's the work we're doing? So in the fall, we did a 6-part math series. And so we think that's really doing some good work, and it's just going to help build capacities of our staff to help students perform in math. But also we had a 6-part instructional design series for the non-math teachers that was like really targeting student outcomes. So I feel really good about the fall series. In the spring, we're launching a 6-part structured literacy series built on the 5 focus areas of the science of reading. So again, like, I think that's targeting that ELA over the long term. I think by the time you get to part 5, we're going to be taking the test. So whether or not this has the impact this year, it certainly will have long-term impact. Also being offered for the non-literacy folk, you know, we'll be launching UDL, GLAD, QTEL, and instructional design. So lots of good PD. Yeah, Zephyr.
At the last coffee talk, you went over the dashboard.
Yeah.
I thought I was well taken by all the parents
Oh,
that
cool.
are not, you know, familiar with the dashboard and
Yeah.
stuff. So I thought that was great, and all the parents were asking questions.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I did the 10-minute version. You guys got the hour and 10-minute version. Yeah. They got the lucky. You guys, we should just do that. It was hard for me because we come here and we unpack the whole thing, and I'm like, how do I do this in 10 minutes? I'm like, blue, green, yellow, blue. Okay, bye. Yeah, it was fun. So I just want to unpack real quick. When I say 6-part series, we're talking about 6 2-hour professional learning sessions. Like, our teachers are like rolling up their sleeve for 2 hours, and in between these sessions, you have these excursions, and people are visiting each other's classrooms. I mean, there's a lot of paid time that you as a board authorize that goes into this, and I guess I'm saying thank you, and I think it's a real benefit. In the fall, we piloted a cohort of 9 peer coaches who went through a peer coach training, and then they coached mostly our intern teachers. But we're launching a second coaching series in the spring, hoping that you can take that PD and really like coach people into making the PD a little more sticky. So I just want to kind of recognize out loud that while we come in here and we talk about academic outcome data, we're doing a lot of work on the tier 1 implementation of the academic work. Any questions on that? Super duper. I just want to do a little monitoring governance progress. We came out here last year at this time and said, hey, we're going to be partnering with CSDC and CSBA to make sure we're on top of what policies need updating. We created this whole framework. I brought it out here, if you'll recall. It was a kind of a cool spreadsheet. Began the work and went through the renewal process. You'll notice this fall, we've had several policies come through governance through this process. I think it's really working. I mean, we have tuberculin, I'm just saying that word, on the agenda tonight, but I think we have 3 policies came out in governance this evening, and with that, we think we've reached a point where as we go into January, and if the 3 policies from governance today make it to the agenda in January, we should have then, we think, cleared the books from all prior to 2026, and all the new updates will then be starting fresh in January. And we've already seen quite a few. I'll allude to one just in a moment about the CSSP. But yeah, we got good work to do, but we're not working in arrears anymore, which feels good. We're finally caught up. So good work to the governance team for sure. Any questions on that? Super duper. All right, let's talk a little updates. I'm going to go family survey results because I just can't get enough survey data. The CSSP update, lottery outreach update, and I'm going to do a little strategic plan workshop with us. Sound good? All right, let's roll. Family survey results, I'm going to just do it all in one slide. I typically do like 14 slides on this. but we've been doing so much family data. I was like, oh, I can't do all that. So I'll just do this. This is the 5 areas that we ask folks on. These are the annual mean averages of those. And as I look at that across the board, it's a very small sample size. You only got 22 family surveys. I think we had a little survey exhaustion because we had everybody take the big survey. So that's okay. Small sample size, mostly flat, but really some alignment with the strategic plan. I mean, look at this. You got a little. It's a small sample size though, but in the strategic plan, communications was your big, like, yep, you guys are great at communications, and in your family survey have similar results. So there's some alignment there. I really think that we should probably, as a team, think about how this instrument changes with the new strategic plan. These 5 areas were really tuned to the previous strategic plan. As we come up with a new strategic plan, might we come up with a new set of 5 to 7 questions that we ask multiple times a year? So any questions, thoughts, or concerns about the quantitative part? Here's just, and these probably won't be big surprises because they're also in our family surveys for the strat plan, but what other areas can Westlake Charter School improve? Because there's only 22 respondents, there wasn't a ton of qualitative data, but the things that got more than one comment are a strong desire for a permanent high school campus and communication regarding progress towards said campus. That came up a lot, like, are you building something? And if you're not building something, can we know what the progress is to build something? We're like, yeah, that's good. Yeah, let's get some comms out there. A request for increased rigor and homework across multiple grade levels. I brought it up here because it came up in multiple grade levels. Concerns about addressing inappropriate behavior, including at recess, and including a call for increased outdoor supervision. So when I say a couple, I'm talking about 2, but 2 of 22 feels like 10%. So, and then increased opportunities for parents to participate and serve. The crosswalks were mentioned. Hey, put us in crosswalks. And classrooms were mentioned. I thought, okay, well, again, 2 of 22, I'll take 10%. So just all of those are also in tonight's discussion regarding the strategic plan. I mean, all of those make it. So I just want to bring them up. Any thoughts on that? Super duper. Comprehensive School Safety Plan, as you know, we produced it for the governance team in November. We have had 2 of our, and look at the draft that's on file in the office. So thank you to both of you for doing that and giving some feedback, great feedback on that. We are investigating, this is kind of interesting if you're a nerd like me, 2 new legislative updates to the Comprehensive School Safety Plan. I think it's the first, update to the CSSP we've had at least last 5 years. First one is AB 962, which is the use of cell phones during an emergency. If your school is going to allow or not allow students to have access to their cell phones during an emergency, like a lockdown, you have to put in the Comprehensive School Safety Plan, we will not be allowing, or we will. Does that make sense? So if you're a school that has a lockbox and everybody puts their phones in a lockbox during class time, if you intend to not open that during a lockdown situation, you just have to publish that policy in there, which I like. That makes sense. And then SB 98 is immigration enforcement notification under the SAFE Act, and that is if you have an immigration enforcement agent come on campus and engage in immigration enforcement, then you have to notify parents, staff, and follow the code on that. And so we'll be publishing that in the CSSP as well, potentially as an addendum to the SOP section, that standard operating procedure section. Both of these will probably just come in as addendum, 1-page items that we put inside there. Ms. Houston, were you going to say something?
I just have one quick question.
Yeah.
The cell phone policy, so I see it goes into the safety plan, which nobody sees. Was there any requirement to make that policy?
I put investigating because as far as I see, I don't see that it's required to put in the family handbook.
Okay.
It is saying you have to put it here. Now, I say that, and I'll come back next month and be like, oh, I was totally wrong.
I'm just curious because that's all.
Yeah, because who's reading this, right? Who's reading the CSSP? Yeah. We'll look into that.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll look into it. We're interested. We just scratched on it the last couple of days and went, oh, that's interesting. Something's changing. That's kind of cool. So, again, we're working on the CSSP. We plan to seek approval in February and move it forward to NUSD by March. So I think we'll have a safety committee in January, then again in February, move it up to the board. Any questions on the CSSP? Super duper. Lottery outreach, I think this is kind of interesting. I mean, we got these beautiful new postcards going out. We've done this countdown to the lottery launching. It launched. We got postcards and social media. It's in newsletters. But here is what we do every year is we timestamp the data on December 8th. And this is the number of applications that we've gotten on December 8th. Now, it's ticked up a little bit today. Me and Melissa looked at it today. We've closed the gap a little bit. But look at this data right here. If this is the high point, you can see this curve that goes from 735 up to 996 and down to 718. Which is interesting. I mean, it's not a perfect bell curve, but you go 35, 15, high point, 12. If you took the 28 and came down to 39, it's almost this perfect curve. So I'm like, it's interesting. So I started scratching on it because I'm interested. And this is kind of what I came up with. So analysis shows decreases in primary grades and increases in middle school since the high school opened. So I started scratching on it, and on the K-5 side, we've seen a decline in the number of applications. Now, we still have way too many applicants for the number of seats that we have. And on the middle school side, you've seen this interesting uptick, and so it looks like people are entering at middle school to get to that high school. So I think that's interesting. So then why the decreases in primary grades? I don't know. I obviously speculate out loud here. Here's some speculation. TK enrollment in the district has vastly increased in the last decade. If you put your child in TK and you've never been to Westlake Charter School, you don't have a sibling, maybe you're fine. You've got into school has started, that's your school. It could be that. I look at it as a potential post-pandemic increase in applications because if you go back this direction, 735 and 718 look a lot more like it does in the past. We had this was a big high point for us. It spiked, and it came right after some pretty hard years, right? So we had the 2021 year, and then these are the 3 years coming out of COVID. We did this. I don't know. Potential is there a potential decrease in desirability? I mean, you have to look in the mirror and go, are less people applying because somehow it's less desirable? Maybe. There's this concept of waitlist fatigue, which seems to track a little bit in the 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if you're like, are we having kindergarten applicants that are not reapplying? Whereas in the past, people reapplied over and over. Are people starting to go, hey, if you don't get in kinder, you're not going to get in? There could be some of that. But I just bring it up because I'm interested. Any thoughts on that? Anything I could go scratch on for you or look into data that I have access to?
Can I just give two thoughts?
Yeah,
that
I love it.
I
Amy
think
will
it's
write them down.
interesting that right down the street we had a dual enrollment school.
Totally.
Dual immersion, school
Yeah.
open up.
Yeah.
And that is really hitting those primary ages because they're just TK through second right now. And then I do follow the enrollment of all the North Natoma schools just for work.
Yeah.
And almost all have gone down.
Yeah, I should have
And so-
I should have said that out loud.
I think it's really
Now,
interesting.
I had a conversation with a district member earlier this week, and we talked on the phone about enrollment, and he's like, "How are you guys doing?" I said, "Well, our enrollment's steady, but our applications look down." He goes, "Hey, we're down.
They're trending
The
down,
district is down, and so
And particularly in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because the housing prices have gotten so high, and a lot of the families are now empty nesters. So Heron in
Yeah.
particular,
Yeah.
so I just think it's interesting where we are and kind
Yeah.
of what's happening with the housing market. There's a lot
that
that
happened
goes
in
into it.
Natomas High School 15 years after it opened because it was like all the people that bought a house to put their kid in the school, those kids all left, and now they're all empty nesters, and now this whole neighborhood is people without kids. Yeah. Oh, that's this neighborhood now.
Yes, it is.
15 years later. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's been
Sally.
20-something years.
Seems like a lot of the new building in the area are apartments and they're professionally like
More like single.
small.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've asked out loud, like, we're getting a ton of apartments. Where are the kids? Why are the district schools not filling up? But I wonder if those apartments are targeting the professional commuter. or
There's
the-
a lot of studio apartments that are like 700 square feet.
Huh. Yeah, anyway, I mean, it's really, cause remember the year?
Well, and the building's in another district.
Yes,
The new homes are all
Oh,
in Rivers.
oh yeah, the new ones over there in Northgate are all Twin Rivers, yeah, for sure.
Panhandle and Northlake,
Oh,
they're
true,
both
yeah, yeah,
Twin
yeah.
Rivers.
Yeah, right, for sure. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Anyway, we have plenty of applicants. Our enrollment is incredibly strong. But, I love to play the game of, I wonder what this means. So, yeah, it's interesting. So I'll give you some, I'll just give you some high school trend data just because I think the ninth grade is really, always something to watch and look at. And, it's trending about like last year, but certainly down from the high point year, but outperforming the early years. And so, I think we're looking okay. I also wonder about what day of the week December 8th is and, whether postcards have gone out. There's just a thing. So that's pretty close. Yeah, regardless, I think we have more than enough applicants already. We could close the lottery tomorrow and be full, but we won't. We'll keep it going. Yeah, that's right. We got lots of time. Yeah. Lots of time. Sorry, was there any other thoughts on that? No? All right, cool. So I want to do a little a deep dive into the family data, and I'm going to do it together. We had our admin family survey data workshop. You can see all the Post-it notes on the board over there, because I love me a good Post-it note and whiteboard workshop. And the process was that each admin reviewed all the quantitative and qualitative data and really looked for, these emergent themes. They brought in emergent themes that they could defend. So they had to bring evidence, and the evidence is quotes or quantitative data. So each one was validated through multiple articles of evidence. And then what we did was we started boarding them in these kind of Venn diagrams, and themes were combined and themes were collapsed. It was really cool until we could get to the point where we produced a succinct list of we think these are true. Now you can do anything you want, you can't do everything you want, and so we try to stick to the macro, if you had to come up with 10 and 10 or 7 and 7, what would you come up with? So we came up with some lists, and the game for you tonight is Amy Wells will hand you each a worksheet and a pen. The game for you tonight is this. You're going to play along because last month you said you liked having a worksheet, so I'm like, oh cool, we have worksheets every month. No, I'm just kidding. You have on your worksheet a little Post-it note with each emergent theme on it. There's one page for glows and one page for grows, and we'll talk about each. Your job is, and I'll wait till you have the sheet in front of you so you're kind of able to say, oh, I think I understand what you're saying. So I don't get bad instructions. You get a little more hot cocoa? It is a little chilly. A little chilly. Did you turn it back down?
He did.
Because it did. It got hot. It got super hot. Yeah, no.
It's just silent.
Yes, it either blows 95 degrees or you're freezing. There's the two options. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Wells. I don't want to start while the cocoa's pouring. You're good. Is it warm? Good. Hub, I'm going to do the instructions because you're the gate student. You'll figure it out. Here we go. All right, this is how you play along, everybody, because I want you to be engaged, and I might do a lot of talking, and I want you to be able to scribble while I'm talking. So you have a little Post-it note for each of the emergent themes in front of you right now. This is what I want you to do. While I'm discussing a theme, I want you to note on your Post-it note, what did you notice or what did you wonder about a theme? That's kind of the entry level. The more hard one to do is this one. You don't have to do both, and you don't have to do one for every theme. You just play along however you want to play. The harder one is, how might this theme look as part of a 40,000-foot strategic plan? So I want you to listen to a theme and go, well, we're the board. What do you want us to do about it? And I want you to think is it a budgetary initiative? Is it setting an academic goal so that we can achieve it? Just think through the lens of how we at the 40,000-foot level set a strategic, and you don't have to write a goal, but you could write a note to yourself of how this might influence the work that we do. If you can't do that, you could just do a notice or wonder. There are no wrong answers, and we'll all share at least one at the end of each section, glow and grow. So you only have to share one So like everybody could get at least one notice wonder. Does that track? And instructions clear? Super duper. You got pens and whatnot. So here are the don't fall. Here are the themes on the screen right here. I'll go through each one along with some associated kind of explanation of what I think it means through the evidence that we received. Here we go. We'll start with diversity, equity, and student belonging. The data says that the school seems to value linguistic, socioeconomic, neurodiversity. The school values diversity. The school produces a feeling of belonging amongst its students. And those two sub-themes are a part of this whole overarching theme of diversity, equity, and student belonging. And the school is intentional about its practices that lead to these outcomes. That it's not an accident, that it's not something that happens spontaneously, that we as a school seem to have multiple practices that seem to produce this feeling of belonging, this valuing of diversity. So that is a theme of a glow. I forgot to say this part here up the top, which is these glows are areas that we as a board or a school want to protect and continue producing. So, you know, if you say to me, hey, John, we should stop doing a particular practice, right? We should stop doing something because the people say intentional practices that lead to these outcomes. Hey, you know, I've been looking at the budget. It feels to me like we should probably cut a little money. That whole touch of understanding just seems a little expensive to me. It seems like, and we go, well, we have this thing that we have intentional practices that lead to people feeling like they really belong, right? Is this one of those practices? Now, I know the board wouldn't get all the way down to the level of cutting touch of understanding, but that's the impact of the work you do and how these intentional practices come to fruition. So what do you notice? What do you wonder? Or how do you see that coming to fruition from a board strategic plan? I'll go quicker through them so that you can just scribble along. Stop me if you need. A big theme that came out was that this focus on the whole child, this whole child approach, was highly valued. It was something we should not stop doing. We shouldn't become so academically minded that we forget about the balance between academic and social emotional. It's highly valued by the families. Families recognize that there's this importance placed on relationships. This thing about my teacher knowing my kid, this thing about the principal knowing my kid's name, there's a relational experience here that we should not ignore. It's something that's important to our families. And the data shows really strong support for joyful learning and practices that intentionally reduce stress and anxiety while making learning meaningful. This comes out of the family focus groups pretty loudly. In the survey data, it's there, but you don't really see it till you get to the family focus groups and they start talking and you go, oh, that's what you thought we meant by that? That's fascinating. And it came on all three focus groups, I felt like. So this whole idea of you guys do some things that make school less stressful and less anxious for an anxious generation while simultaneously making sure that learning is meaningful, not just score-driven. Fascinating. Whole child approach. Committed and professional staff. This theme echoed really throughout all the different questions. So across all positions, so they're talking about IAs, they're talking about teachers, they're talking about admin, they're talking about leadership. Across all positions, there's a culture, a staff culture of commitment and caring, which is really this cool, I keep coming back to it. They are committed and they care. And if you go back to that previous theme of relationship, what are they committed to? They're committed to relationship. They're also committed to outcomes fasting. Staff seem to love what they do. That was a quote, and then there was all these sub-quotes that seem to say the same thing. Like, there's a joyfulish thing here that people seem to enjoy their work. Highly trained and professional. So that echoed a lot, that people on the family side seem to recognize the amount of training that seemed to be poured into people in alignment with the mission. And so this is this interesting theme that got collapsed between multiple themes. But in alignment with the mission, they, meaning staff, offer unmatched support for students' differentiated needs. So there's this call out to like these highly trained, committed people who love what they do are able to reach the high kid, the low kid, that they really differentiate but it's got all these little tones of the mission in it. So school and community collaborate comes up, inspiring. It's just a really interesting like theme of when you have the staff who are mission aligned, you get this really exemplary outcome. Am I going too fast or too slow? You're okay. Extracurriculars and after-school programs and athletics. It's not trivial because it came out super loudly in the data. Strong support for after-school sports and programs and athletics on both campuses. People talked about Firefly art, and they talked about the what's it called? What's the athletics one we do after school here? The moving one. Let's get moving as a part of ASL, as part of our school life. There was just lots of like echoes of like both campuses and their after-school programs. Athletics was named pretty loudly as a social emotional support. We had these themes collapse where it was like people talked about athletics in a way that it made their student feel connected, made their student feel like a whole child approach, like it was a part of our academic program or part of our school program. Really interesting, which I loved. Athletics was named as a producer of school connectedness and school spirit. Right? So people talked about the qualities of people going to the game tonight and cheering for their colleagues, feeling connected, which really aligns with all the national data. And then non-athletic extracurriculars deemed highly valuable in similar ways, right? People talked about clubs, people talked about, and there was actually a desire for more of them on the K-8. There was a desire, I think, for high school as well, but like a call out to like, ooh, can we get more of that down here? That was interesting. Communication systems, really irregular communications were deemed highly reliable. Timing, cadence, and content all found to be useful and predictable. Access seems really appropriate. We just kind of one theme that came out was like there's not a big call for changing. If you're looking to change something, don't change this. People get what they need and they know where to find it. Strong K-12 culture. So the culture was such a trip because you just wanted to put everything in the culture bucket because we're such culture coders, you know. So we're trying to like, what are we talking about? So culture is spoken to as high value on both campuses individually and then collectively as a K-12. So like, there's this really cool culture at the high school. There's this really connected culture of K-8. And then some people were like, we have a K-12 culture because my kids are on both campuses and I can feel similar cultural themes on both. So it's a really neat aspect of the data. And there's this ethos of very committed, professional, and closely connected staff. So again, echoing back to that committed staff theme, people pull that into the culture of the school. Like, tell me about the culture of this school. It's about these staff and the way they bring this place to life. Really fascinating. This is short, 3 short words, but like massive data. It comes up welcoming, supportive, warm, and it's across all positionalities, and it creates this culture. What is the culture? And then students and families feel known. A couple of like, interesting quotes. If I was going to pull quotes, my child is not a number here. Love this quote, right? Just a lot of affect, not so much like a culture of rigor or a culture of performance. It's a culture of warm, connected, feeling seen, feeling known by professional, caring, and closely connected people. Really cool stuff. Positive reputation and community engagement. This whole reputation thing is, I mean, you saw it before I spoke to it. It's really overwhelming. There's a lot of it. Reputation of a high academic achievement. So there's some criticisms later on of like, hey, I don't know that we're achieving academically enough, but people said this place has a reputation of high academic achievement. And so I think there's some cognitive dissonance in the data. Some like, this place has a reputation for this. Are we still this? And so later you'll see a theme of like how we tell our story. What does it mean for us to be academically competitive? Let's start to tell that story. Highly engaged families through intentionally engaging systems such as volunteerisms and events. So this is really interesting. So you got a lot of like connected families, and you read a little deeper and you start to like bucket it, like what are they talking about? And they're talking about this volunteerism piece that I'm able to step on campus and be a part of what happens. And then there's also this like, they put on a big show. These events are really, really important. And then a reputation for high standards, safety, and focus, which again, this cognitive dissonance is going to happen because as you read the data, you're like, I came here for these higher standards. You wear uniforms. Like, I'm expecting this to be a well-oiled machine. I came here for safety because I didn't want to go to the other school. That I live in this neighborhood. I came here. And then you get here, and the data later on goes, well, I think we have a behavior problem. And I'm seeing less focus than I thought there should be. And it's okay. It's good data for us to look at. I came for this reason. I'm not certain that this reason's holding up through what I'm seeing. So it's really interesting. So get ready to play along. I'd love you to share one reflection on a glow. Note, what did you notice or what did you wonder about any given theme? Or how might this theme look as part of our 40,000-foot strategic plan? And a reminder, there are no wrong answers. What grabbed your attention? I'll have one person start and then I'll whip around. Hope's going to go first, and she's going to point.
No, I mean, Sally was, so mine crosses a number of Post-its,
Yeah.
so I don't ever follow the rules.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm sitting here thinking, though, that I'm really proud of our investment in Everest Academy. Because you see professional development and training
Yeah.
and connectedness coming through, and I feel like because you with the help of staff have created such a cohesive opportunity for professional development that allows everyone to sort of be in it and see it,
Yeah.
that you're seeing it play through, whether it be whole child focus and how we look at a child, how, playing into our committed and our professional staff,
Yeah.
and as well as diversity. It really played into a number of areas, especially with the number of topics you've covered in Everest.
Yeah, the gift there is the Wednesdays. Having PD time throughout the year is the gift. Using Everest allows us to train you today and then hire you next year and get the exact same training. And that's the
where
gold.
the cohesiveness
Hopefully, yeah.
comes from.
Yeah, I love that. Suzanne, can I go your direction?
Absolutely. I was gonna share one, but I was thinking of a different one. I think what you had talked about, and I think it was the whole child focus, is it's hard because when we're focusing on increasing achievement, especially when we're getting closer to being reauthorized,
Yeah.
to hold that in tow with that whole child,
Yeah.
and that there's a lot of important things, not just academic achievement. So my wonder is like, how does that play out? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And how are parents aware of that, when they're not here every day? So
No, it's so critical. The dashboard doesn't say, how warm and welcoming are you? Right? And if it did, we'd be blue, right? Yeah, I love that. And I think there is a strategic response to that. Like, we put in the strategic plan what's important to us, and I think there's a strategic element of, like, we need to start communicating with people what's important to us, because no one's going to read the strategic plan. Right? Savir, you want to play?
Yeah, a couple notes I wrote down. Consistency was one, right? Communication systems with consistency, we should keep it as is or increase our communication, not go backwards.
Yeah.
And then as being part of the finance, the budgetary requirements, for professional staff, I'm team paid the teachers, and the staff, so
Yeah.
that's me. And then the after-school programs, if there's any way we can continue to grow after-school programs with sports, right? If the budget allows
Yeah.
to consistently continue to grow that and add stuff on.
Thank you for speaking on behalf of finance. When I say, what part of these Post-it notes impact the strategic plan? Like, every one of them implies budget. Because everything, right? I mean, you got to pay a staff to do a thing. Yeah, it's good. Love that. Thank you. Steve, do you want to play, or are we skipping you?
Yeah, I can play along.
Yeah, play along.
Mine came down to the extracurriculars, the after school and athletics, and it really came to connectiveness, but really just around engagement, because we know the more the community is engaged and students are engaged, the better off everyone is. So
Yeah.
really, it's not just about those as a function, as an activity, but just kind of what it leads to in the end.
Yeah. If the only way I can get your mom onto campus is she comes and watches a soccer game, you'll actually do better academically because your mom stepped on campus. It's great. Yeah, it's the connectedness piece. Sean?
So as finance chair, I have to talk about it from a finance point of view, but the whole child focus, committed and professional staff, and the extracurriculars and after school, all are things that we have made an intentional budgetary outlay
Yeah.
for, that in some cases, we chose to do high school sports. We could have said, nah.
Totally.
So, I think those are sort of the 40K
foot,
Yeah.
like, budgetary.
Yeah, I think sometimes we forget that we have asked our families, go ahead and pick up your child 2 hours early on Wednesday, and we're gonna lose that many hours of instruction throughout the year, but we're gonna use that time to benefit your child. Like, it's a capital outlay, but the exchange is you get, professional development and collaboration, all those things that way. Yeah, that's good. Katie Sanchez.
I was thinking a lot about like staff and making sure that staff is taken care of and not burnt out, because that is going to affect the commitment and the professional development and the workload and all of those things.
Yeah, I mean, those are all on the next slide. You good segue. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, Sally, what do you got?
I was thinking a lot about the after-school offerings, non-athletics. I think our athletics are really strong in the way that we've set out to do them, but what about things like Nature Bowl? We don't do that anymore, and Math Olympiad we've never done. Like, there are a lot of things that we could. We can't do everything, I know.
Sure.
But there are a lot of opportunities, I feel like, to tap into other besides athletics.
It's just,
But I don't know how.
from a strategic planning focus to like say, hey, build a structure by which these things happen, because they're so personality oriented. Like, I want a Nature Bowl. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm moving to the high school. No more Nature Bowl.
Right.
Like, whereas soccer is going to happen.
Yeah.
Because now soccer is we're part of a league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Build systems that perpetuate these things. I love that. Houston, what do you got?
So the budget piece also spoke to me, but I think you all covered it really well. The first one, when we're talking about diversity, equity, and student belonging, I think that both staff and families seem to really value it. So I do think that needs to be memorialized in our strategic plan somehow. I think that's what we can do from the 40,000 foot level, is show that we're committed.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'm noodling with, how we have an assumptions workshop coming up. I'm wondering if a portion of our strategic plan, you have your plan and you have your assumptions, and I'm wondering if part of the assumptions is the things we think we do well that we never want to stop doing, but they're not like strategic initiatives to get better at.
I was actually thinking we might need an intentions list,
An intentions list.
which kind of plays off. So there's the assumptions, like where we're headed, but intentions being what we've purposely done and want to continue.
That's good.
I love some nerdy strat planning. It's so great. Hey, Deb, did you want to play along?
No, good.
No, you're good. Okay. Everybody ready to go? Okay, I should have, I think there's 9 of these next ones, 8 of them. So, I'll walk through them one at a time. Each one of them was just super rich with data, and to be totally transparent, I think we spent, of our 4-hour workshop, more time on these because we're looking for areas of growth. So it might be a little more in depth. Staff turnover and retention. I mean, Sanchez spoke to it beautifully. I mean, that is probably our number one in the family data, and I'm going to just peek behind the curtain in the staff data too. Like, when you lose staff to turnover at Westlake, it's so hard because we don't just have a curriculum here on page, on day 19, we're on page 27. Just follow along. That's not how we onboard people here. So it's just so hard. The impact from the family data of staff turnover on student learning was called out. Right? I had a 12-year veteran last year, and then this year I got a brand new teacher, and she was awesome, or he was awesome, but they were definitely new. And so you see that impact on the quality and consistency of program. So you heard this a lot as you're going through the school. Newsletters vary from person to person, but it felt to us that, like, because of turnover, when you get the newer person, the consistency of what we do across the years alters. These mid-year leaves result in concern regarding quality of replacement teacher due to challenging mid-year recruitment. It's harder to find an awesome teacher in December than it is in April for the following year, right? So that's definitely called out. So that staff turnover retention was, I put it first because I think it deserves it. It's the big. In fact, if you just took that one into consideration, every other post-it note goes, well, yeah, that's affected by that. Well, except for maybe this one. Sorry, my fault. Yeah, okay, so no big surprise. Permanent high school campus just came out, but I thought what was interesting here thematically was the reasons that we started to code and we kind of bucketed. The reasons for really wanting a high demand for a high school permanent campus was this idea of equity, because the other kids who are my child's peers at these other schools, every other 16-year-old in Natomas can look out a window at some point during the day. My kid's in a warehouse. There's a lot of that. Equity, access, and by access, it was access to like science labs and, a full-size gymnasium with an athletic court that's appropriate, not just a concrete floor. So there's this equity, there's this access. Athletics just came up over and over and over again because green space, and there was a safety call out for sure. I think there was this articulation that like I'm not sure that place is designed for 500 kids to be in all the time. The parking lot probably wasn't designed to be a high school parking lot. There's just a lot of calls out to like, are we sure that's the best place for our kids from a safety perspective? So, I loved the feedback on that. Communication gaps in program clarity. Gosh, I'm not sure if we coded this one out loud. I don't know if that's the right title, but follow me down the rabbit hole. The idea is that program components often get misunderstood and become pain points. We need to share our rationale for things like standards-based grading. Why do you guys have a block schedule at the high school? What about these homework policies? Like, we have rationale for all these things we do because we are very intentional about what we do. But if you don't know our intentions, but you just see the actions, you have to fill in the blanks and be like, well, why'd you guys do this? And then when we sit down and explain to people what we're trying to do, they're like, oh, well, that makes sense. So I think we need, as an organization, to become better about explaining what we're trying to accomplish.
See, my intention sheet.
It's your intention sheet. The stories will help to define our academic competitiveness because there's this data all over the place, especially like around homework policies, standards-based grading, that we're not producing academically competitive students because they don't take home and cry how hard their homework is. And we're like, well, we're intentionally not wanting them to go home and cry. We promise they're still learning as much as they need to learn. But unless you tell people what you're trying to accomplish. So I just think there's a thing in here that speaks to more than academic competitiveness, but I think that academic competitiveness will be more easily understood if we're better at telling our story. Okay? Special education and our inclusion model. Definitively, there's value in the reason for inclusion. All through the data, hey, I really respect what you're trying to do. I get what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do. I understand it. However, there's concerns about the actual execution of our program. So there's like, hey, evaluate your program. There is this interesting perception that the manner in which we include may not best benefit all students. And I said that in a way that I said it because people are talking about the student who's being included from a special education standpoint, but also the general education student in said classroom. There's an articulation here that both groups may be being held back a little bit by the inclusion model. So it's an interesting way to look at it. There's a concern that the investment in inclusion, especially on the special education side of the house, distracts or takes resources away from others, which is hard to hear, but you got to listen. Like, people are saying, my kid's in that class, and I look at that teacher who's working crazy hard, but she's working like really hard to help this kid more time than she is helping my kid, right? Or more resources are going in this direction. And so that's an articulated concern, and as a board, we go, okay, great. Like, let's look at the work we're doing and what do we value and how are we manifesting. Student behavior and discipline. Definitively families perceive insufficient accountability and inconsistency, including calls for clear consequences and visible discipline. So this clear consequence and visible discipline piece is really interesting. Like, from a love and logic, old perspective, it's like we don't look around and know immediately what the boundaries are and what happens if you cross those boundaries. There's just not a very visible understanding of like what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and when you behave not acceptably, what's going to happen to you. People don't think that there's this visible discipline code was fascinating because there's one way to read it as like, we want a pound of flesh and I want to throw the book at that kid. But there's also just like, we just want to know, was that kid held accountable? It's interesting. It's fascinating data.
Can I ask a question on this?
Sure.
Sorry. So it's not so much that I want my kid to see that other kid get in trouble for something, so my kid learns not to do it. It's more that I can't tell what resulted from it.
No. It's more the first. It's more that like, hey, my kid came home today and said that Hope poked Suzanne in the eye, and then I saw Hope like getting a prize out of the prize box, and I'm like, why is Hope getting a prize for poking Suzanne in the eye? There's a misunderstanding of like how behavior is being managed. And it overlaps a lot with the previous theme around special education, functional behavior plans, things like that. So the data's pretty clear, though, that like there does not seem to be a transactional nature between misbehavior and consequence. It's not a very. It's not. No, you're great. You're great. And peek behind the curtain. The staff, we said it too in the staff focus group yesterday. We're like, we are not 100% sure on what is exactly being asked of each of us in a moment when nationally this is exactly the data that's being shared at every school. I mean, everywhere I look right now, people are like, what is happening with behavior? And so I think it's a natural moment for us to look inward. Inadequate response to repeat offenders. This comes up as the big pain point. It's going to come up in the staff data too after yesterday's conversation, because it's like I think we're okay if Hope poked you in the eye. Hope actually would get called to the office. We'd see Hope leave and go to the office. Yeah, okay, that was a big behavior, and it happened, and it gets held accountable. It's the repeated like ticky tacky ticky tacky ticky tacky ticky tacky ticky tacky. There's kind of everyone's going, we can't get this to stop. If you say my friend is 6'7", your entire class thinks it's okay. 6'7". I did it today in the hallway on accident. It was hilarious. Concerns about supervision in unstructured settings actually just comes up as a theme. You really on the smaller side of the house on the primary. Yeah, we hear a lot about recess because you get a lot of big behaviors at recess, and so there seems to be this echoing of like, hey, could you get more people out there? We got like a lot of people out there. So while people are calling for more supervision, I think that I'm not sure what the solution is. I think that's why we need a strategic action around it, because I mean you could just keep throwing people out there until you have more adults than kids, and I don't know what would happen. So something has to change around that outdoor unstructured topic. Those two are big. I mean, those two are really big, and I think staff turnover, when you look at the top, those two down there play into not just this school but the industry. People are leaving this industry under those two topics. Meaningful opportunity for family engagement. This really got articulated well in the family focus groups. The family focus groups were so great because they helped us understand what the initial survey responses meant. But this idea that families do not feel that they are being asked to participate in a targeted way. Whereas 10 years ago, I was told I need a mystery reader. Come to my I need help with every Tuesday and Thursday. I need someone to run a small group in my class. It's targeted. Can you please come help with a reading group? And now we're getting some like more of a vibe of like, hey, come help, but not a targeted like, hey, I need an ask. Also, there's kind of a call for like people maybe want to be asked for what they're good at.
They want to know what their role is.
Yeah, a little more targeted. Yeah, they want specificity. Yeah, and we could we'll figure out what that means. And there's a perception that volunteerism used to be required. There's this big echo in there of like, hey, actually, when I came here, I thought you guys. I thought I'd get kicked out if I didn't volunteer. Here I am 10 years later. No one's asking anymore. So I go, okay, yeah, there's been a change in language for sure around that. Rigor and real-world preparation. And it's going to bleed into this academic code next as well. But there's concerns about the support structures and systems such as like retakes are not preparing my student for future academic success. Hey, you're letting kids retake exams. That's not going to happen in the real world. I'm like, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, right. It does the DMV, and I know I've had days at my job where I didn't do well, and you all let me come back the next day. Thanks so much. But I get it. Again, we're not great at telling the story, so people don't know why. And if it doesn't look like what they experienced in school, they go, that don't make any sense to me, and here's why. So this whole like prepare my child for the future. It's funny in there because the elementary families are worried about getting prepared for middle school. The middle school families are worried about getting prepared for high school. The high school families are worried about getting prepared for college. It's really funny. I pull you 3 quotes and you go, yeah, they're all saying the same thing. So that's interesting. And there's a desire for more life skills preparation for succeeding in life, financial literacy. Again, we got to get better at telling our stories because we have a financial literacy class at the high school. But people are like, you should have a financial literacy class. We do, you know. But definitely a desire for like life skill preparation. This theme definitively got pulled out of this academic personalization technology theme. They kind of blend together. There's a need for differentiated instruction for high achievers. That came up a ton. It was like, hey, and then it bled into this idea of the special education. I see you pouring tons of support and bending the data for the student who's historically marginalized or underachieving due to neurodiversity. She has to put a ton of effort to help this kid, but this a high achiever over here isn't getting pushed to their full potential. Really interesting data in there. I think that was a very easily definable code. And then a desire for more rigorous or specialized course options, advanced mathematics, different foreign languages, things like that, came up. There was also, that's why the technology is in here, there's a desire for less reliance on technology as an independent instructional tool. And this one actually related to this differentiation for high achievers because we heard more than once people, and it wasn't very many, but we heard more than once, so we put it in this code, like people saying like, hey, my child's a high achiever, and while the teacher's super busy working with the kids who need extra support, my kid's given the ability to get on like Imagine Math and kind of do their own thing, but it sure would be nice if I had some extra support for my child that wasn't technology driven. That was interesting. All right, ready to play along? Please share one grow. What did you notice? What do you wonder? Or how might this affect the 40,000 foot? There are no right answers. First person to go wins nothing. Sean Berman.
I made a note to myself here, and then I started taking tallies. Communication. I got to 6 tallies on, so 6 of the 8 seemed to come. A lot of it seems like it could be addressed.
The thing we're best at is communication.
Yeah.
We need to do more of.
More of it around these particular topics, which seems like a pretty easy lift. I mean, it's a lot of easy lifts, but you know, it's
no. But you're right. I mean, a lot of it is about creating clarity. A lot of it is about creating clarity for people. Yeah, I love that. Steve, I'm going your direction because we went this direction last time.
Yeah, that's actually a great point because when I look at mine, talking about real world experiences and having a graduate from the high school and knowing how prepared she is and kind of knowing how many colleges our graduates got accepted to and things like that, just being able to like share the stories from those, right? So I think there is something there that we could kind of grab onto.
Boy, there's such an easy story to tell around the first graduating class and 27 starting kindergarten, where are they now?
All that.
And, there's such an easy story to tell. Yeah, we gotta get better at telling it. Yeah. Sapphire?
So a few of the notes I wrote down. So about the permanent high school campus, I think that just goes back to the parents because they had a physical high school campus, and I know I was talking to a few parents. They're like, "Oh, we got to hang out in the quad area," and I don't feel like our kids get to do that at the current high school, right? So, and that goes back to obviously budgetary stuff. The student behavior and discipline. And you actually went over it when I was writing down my notes, but is there a clear plan? Do the parents know what the plan is? If a student gets in disciplinary action, what happens next, right? And how many more times? And then about the opportunities for family engagement, I believe there's opportunities out there for parents to engage, is whether if they reach out and actually want to engage, right? I mean, that's the way I look at that.
Yeah. But it's really important for us, regardless of what we think is true, to listen to what people think is true, because it comes again down to creating clarity and accessible clarity for people so they know, Yeah. Suzanne, what do you got?
I think just on the first one with staff turnover, like, I guess my wondering is the reasons for that. We know in charters it's hard to be competitive with salaries, so that's difficult. But if you create a strong culture, then people have reasons to stay. So just wondering where those reasons are.
Yeah, this is a great conversation. Actually, I thought I was going to put it in a slide, and I think maybe I forgot to. So we had staff focus groups yesterday. I definitively said to staff, hey, look, I'm not going to ambush you with questions about compensation, salary, benefits, adjunct duties, and working conditions at this, because I want to talk about student behavior, special education, things like that. But I am going to host a focus group for staff in January around these topics. And we're noodling on, like, I'm going to take my questions to leadership, and leadership will help me shape them. But, like, I do want to get at it because I always report out on our staff turnover here. And I feel like, 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, well, this is about, we're below national average. We're below national average. We're about at national average. Last year, we were a little above national average. And you go, well, if national average is roughly 8 to 12%, you go, okay, hit 10%, you're like 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7. Well, you've lost 28 human beings who have like all the knowledge. Yeah. So it's compounding. So, and as I went through each of those each year, I feel like I got all these great stories. But I almost thought about reaching out to those. Maybe not all 28 of them, but I've called Kim Erickson and Lauren Poole and Whitney O'Hare. I could call enough of these people and go, hey, can I ask you 3 quick survey questions? I just want to hear.
Or on the way out.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm interested. I'll be diving into that topic really deeply in January. Cool. Yeah, I'm interested.
I think that in the 15 years or however long I've been around, there's always a tension between GATE and full inclusion. And
Sure.
I almost feel like they'll never meet. So if I find it interesting to see that topic continues to persist. I also wonder about when we say we want them college, whatever, ready, right? I'd love to dig deeper on what ready means, right? We've talked about that. There's academically ready, there's social emotional ready, and then there's ready outside the Westlake world, which is very different for the better, but it's very different than what students actually face once they leave our cocoon of Westlake. And then lastly, I think that we're seeing an increase nationally against accommodations for students who need them. There was an article published this week in The Atlantic about how it's just another way rich white people are getting an easier ride because they can afford the specialists to get them the diagnoses they need to get the accommodations they want at colleges. And so it's just another attack on the students who need those accommodations. It's a fascinating
I
article.
did not read that article. Maybe send that to me.
I'll try and find it again.
Yeah.
But I wonder how much of that national, and maybe it's for our assumptions later, but how much the national rhetoric sort of is filtering up and through the responses. They're all valid, but I'd love to know some of the background behind some of them.
Yeah, that's interesting. AW not playing. Houston.
So I had the same thought as Sean and Steve about communication. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, a lot of this can be solved just with us sharing because we've talked about everything went through a rigorous process, every decision.
Sure, yeah.
And so just kind of occasionally resharing that, because we do a really great job when it happens, and then
Yeah,
kind of falls off.
we're good at the change implementation
Yes.
matrix, but then once that, we're like, oh, we made that decision.
And then the next group comes in
And
and
5
they're
years
like,
later,
why
no
would you
one-
do that?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Well, and if you've gone through staff turnover, the staff don't know or
Yes.
remember, and that's again partly why Everest exists, is because we think that as we codify things and go, this is the way we do
Yeah.
this,
It'll help
Yeah.
that side, but
Yeah.
to families still, we need to
Yeah.
tell that. And then
Family Everest. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
mean, I think that's a cool idea. I think maybe some of, not a lot, but some of the concerns with maybe having more options for some of the higher achievers could be solved with the clubs or the extra activities. Because I remember years ago that Nature Bowl was like, okay,
Yep.
this
Good-
is a
great
great
call.
thing that you could work on. We're gonna expand your learning here. So I think
Yeah, I
that
didn't put
could-
those two together. That's a great theme collapsing right there. That's brilliant. Yeah.
And could that happen through electives? As
Oh,
we
yeah,
move
there you
toward
go, home
the
run,
more
yeah.
academic
Yeah.
idea.
focus.
It's a good
Yeah, I
idea.
love that. That's why we have this room. Yeah, good job. That's cool. Hubba?
I wonder how staff survey results will mirror or be different than the family.
Next slide. Sorry.
And specifically, I wonder about academics. What was the academic conversation with staff compared to the academic ask from parents? And that led me to wonder if we get more parents into our classrooms, would that help with the understanding that there is differentiation to the max
Yeah.
going on in classrooms, and that the gifted student and the student with special needs, whatever they are, meet.
Yeah.
They are meeting in the classroom and they are working together, and it's this beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
And then I think when I was, years ago, when I was really volunteering a lot, like K1, when my senior was at that age, if someone questioned like what was going on, I defended it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, well, she's doing this, and then I
Yeah.
do, and then I came in and helped this group. And when we don't have that as much,
Yeah.
then I think
Yeah.
there's more chatter.
Yeah.
Creates a vacuum.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the next slide is like looking for alignment between the staff and the family data. But yeah, it'll be fascinating to unpack. It'll be fascinating to unpack. I love it. Sanchez.
Something that you say often is clarity is key. And I think we do a really good job of like the communications day to day of like weekly newsletters and
Totally.
all of those things. But like maybe the bigger vision of like, I know why we do these things because
That's
I've been
it.
here for 10 years. Or like, I know what the next steps are because I helped make it 10 years ago.
Right, I was on the team that decided that.
But I
Yeah.
think like family changes and staff changes and all of those things, like maybe it's something we have to like reshare every year.
Yeah, I think it's on us right now as a strategic planning team to put somewhere in that plan, hey, we've got to get good at sharing our intentions and the intentional programmatic decisions that we've made. And I think it's for families, but it's for when you hire a brand new teacher, you should say, this is what you're signing up for and the why. And we believe this. This is awesome, right? Because you come in, you're like, wait, what do we do? Why is that? I don't understand. There's a lot to onboard as a family or a teacher.
I mean, the easy, weird example, right, is why do you take October break? And I know that's really surface, but a lot of families question why they're trying to find childcare in October. And there's a lot of intention behind that break, but are we explaining that? This is, sorry, I know it's kind of a really surface
When
example.
I take people on walks of this campus and I talk about being part of the design process, I mean, I could tell you a story about every square inch of this campus and why this window was placed here and why that door swings that way. And like, someday I'll retire, right? And like, I don't know that we're gonna capture all those, those stories we lost, but there's stories all over this place, man. Yes, we should capture the important ones so that people understand the intentionality of everything we do.
Record all the videos.
Totally. Welcome to Westlake. You have 75 hours of video.
It's getting the family recipes before that loved one passes.
Yeah, no, it's pot roast. It's
My mom always made spiced pineapple every year, and you know what? It was in her head, and now I can't make that memory. We need to document our history and our whys in that same fashion.
And I do wonder if it does also allow us the opportunity to say, oh, well, now that I say that out loud, we do that one thing, and we're kind of still doing it for the people who were here a decade ago, and those people aren't here anymore. And we're doing it the way we've always done it because we've always done it that way. And so there's this opportunity to say, yes, this is why we do what we do, and this is what we do. We maybe shouldn't do that way. And I think we should probably put that in the strategic plan. Some, self-awareness. Any other thoughts on this? Thanks for playing along. Do you feel like you understand what the family said? Was it helpful? Okay, because I'm going to come at you next time with staff, and then what we're going to do on next steps is we're seeking alignment between family and staff data, and the admin team is going to meet on January 5th. We're going to present emergent theme from staff. We're going to begin alignment between staff and family data. And so, I think what happens is you go is any of this data super outlier and doesn't align with staff or vice versa? But I'm going to tell you, because I've been looking, I have 1,059 staff codes or quotes, and I've read every quote more than once, so I'm very, they line up. When we talk about behavior, there's something to work on. When we talk about burnout, satisfaction, and turnover, there's something to work on. So each of these themes, many of these themes line up really well. Cool. All right, that was just a quick couple of slides.
Okay. Should we just do a quick check for public comments as an email?
Seeing You see any?
I'm refreshing.
Oh, you are refreshing.
I am refreshing.
You're very refreshing.
There are none.
Okay, so on consent tonight, we have 4 items. If there aren't any questions, is there a motion to approve? Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Sapphire,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
Amber,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Katie.
Yes.
You nailed it.
That brings us to our first other action item, first interim budget.
Remember when we said we're gonna keep it light and short today? My bad. That was on me.
It's like hour and a half in.
And on that note, if you turn over this handout, we'll be working on the budget together.
Yeah, that's right, everybody.
I failed the math, so just skip that.
Yeah, so we do a quick, it is quick, a couple slides. First interim budget update this evening. Do you mind driving from there?
I'm
You can
driving.
put a lot of words on a slide, you know.
Did it what?
You can put a lot of words on one slide.
Oh, I can, yes. Sure. No gifts tonight, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're looking at just a quick slide on some budget timelines and then talking about the first interim budget. Go on to the next. So from a budget timeline standpoint, we usually talk about and start off the conversation with as a nonprofit, which we are. What budget timelines do we need to think about and kind of work within? And there's 2 that are highlighted here in green. The first one is our first interim. And this is really a snapshot of everything that's happened between July 1 of this year through October 31st. And the revenues are updated and expenditures are updated. I like to call it the NWA, if you would, of the budget, right? It's really a snapshot in time of what the budget looks like. We hear what the governor has to say in May and in June. The budget gets adopted. We think we know it's going to happen, and the reality hits and things begin to happen, right? And so this is just the chance to update the budget as the school year lifts off the ground. The budget is due to get approved by December 15th, so we're right in line for that. The second item on the list is our financial audit, which was just received by the board in consent a few moments ago. The good news is that once again, after many years, or in addition to many years in a row, is that we had a clean audit once again, so that's always great. But this, again, it always comes up to the board as well every December, mid-December. So those are the 2 items that come up this time of year. Actually, back real quick.
Just kidding?
Yeah, just kidding. Next up, we'll hear the second interim that will come up to the board in March, and then at the end of the year, we'll get the adopted budget, which will come to the board in June. So those are the next kind of big budget items that we kind of, yeah.
Question, Steve, about the audit. Do we post the audit on our webpage at all? Or
We do, yep.
We do.
Yep. So if you go to the website, under About, there's a business section, and there's some drop downs, and the financial audit will get posted there.
It's easy reading.
Yeah, and I have a copy here if you want to.
I also have a copy right here.
As an auditor, I love reading audit reports. I'm not gonna lie. I do all the
Oh,
time.
I didn't mean to be offensive. Yes, they're very good reading.
You can take this home tonight if you like. So, yeah. Okay, so what is in the audit? There's the budget. Well, the budget includes everything, all of our revenues, all of our expenditures. On the revenue side of the house, it includes not only the revenue that we receive from the state, but also from base, from WAVE, donations, interest, everything else. As in prior years, we continue to do School Services of California. They're one of the predominantly education entities in the state that provides kind of economic data. We also get information from Natomas Unified on kind of local tax rates that we use. We get information from El SELPA on special education rates. So all those different pieces come together in the budget that we use to update our interim budget. On the revenue side of the house, the local control funding formula, or LCFF, has been updated. Our unduplicated pupil count has been updated. On the good news side of the budget, we're seeing some increases in our average daily attendance. I think we all know that our budget is predominantly funded on how many students come through the door every day. So ADA, or average daily attendance, is what it's funded on. And our adopted budget is funded on 94%. It was based on 94%, and our first interim is also based on 94%. But actually, we're tracking a little bit higher than that right now, which is good news. So if that continues throughout the course of the year, we would see kind of a positive revenue gain on the backside. A number of years ago, we consistently sat higher than 94%, and then kind of trend down with COVID and other reasons, so we had to bring it back down. So if we continue to see increases year over year, we might be able to kind of tick that up over time. So, and this, we've had some programs kind of focus on attendance. This doesn't include attendance recovery and some things like that. So we're really making some big inroads and focusing on attendance. So just a highlight within the budget. Also on the revenue side, had a little bit increase in funding on the ELO, the Expanded Learning Opportunity. Those really funds before and after school programs. So when you think about our conversations earlier around BASE and ASL and athletics, it really goes to fund that. A little bit more money for special education. And also includes the one-time funds that weren't in the adopted budget for the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, and then a bigger block grant for student services and professional development. So those two bigger chunks of money were not in the adopted budget, but they did show up in the first interim budget that you'll see. On the expense side of the house, a couple contracts have come through the board over the past couple months for NPS, or non-public schools. So those have come through the board. Those are now reflected in the first interim budget. Transportation-related services have also been adopted into the budget. You may recall our lease for East Commerce was under negotiation. That is also now reflected in the budget. So all those expenses are now in there. So again, those are all in there as well. But everything else is largely in track. One thing that was not in first interim because it was passed after October 31st was the one-time bonus structure. So again, that is not there, but it will be in there in second interim. You'll see that reflected. Overall, though, expenses are largely in line, kind of excluding those things that we talked about a moment ago. If you're more of a visual learner, you can see kind of a left-hand side there, kind of a revenue distribution. So the large chunk, the LCFF, and the EPA, the Education Protection Account, those are all kind of state funds. So you can see we're largely funded by the state. And then if you click once again, you'll get the expenses. So that's where the money goes. And if you add up a lot of the chunks or slice of the pie, you'll see about 80% goes towards salary and benefits for staff. There is a large slice that says services. That includes Clean It, Law and Order, some of our service providers as well. So although we don't consider them staff, traditional staff, I would consider Jose when I see him one of our staff.
Yeah.
I would consider our folks who are here on the weekends maintaining the
Even some of our special education service providers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So again, there's just a different way of seeing where the money comes in and how it goes out. And then the next slide is kind of the more traditional way to view a budget. Kind of in what I would say is the middle column, you can see our adopted budget in the red highlighted was the first interim. And then you've got our projected 2-year projections for 26-27 and 27-78. And then in another couple months, you'll get an additional column in the middle for our second interim budget, which will be coming due. Altogether, though, the budget is positive right now. We anticipate it being positive not only in second interim, but also in the out years. And it's not only the budget is positive, but cash flow as well. So that's about it. That's the first interim.
Any questions on the budget?
Yeah.
No? Usually, well, no?
I'll move the budget.
Well, first interim.
First interim.
Yeah, sorry to correct you.
Yes, no, that's,
We already moved the budget.
yes.
We're stuck with it. Is there a second?
It was so good, I want to do it.
I'll second it. I'll do it.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Satvier,
Yes.
Sally. Yes. Amber. Yes. Suzanne.
Yes.
Katie.
Yes.
Okay, academic calendar.
Yeah, there was a brief on the academic calendar in the packet that described or answered a few of the questions that we had. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns? Any questions you need answered about the academic calendar?
If none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Thank you.
Oh, now it's working. I'll move
Is
the
there a
academic
second?
calendar.
I'll second.
Thanks.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Satvier,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
Amber,
Yes.
Suzanne?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Okay. So we don't have any discussion items tonight, which brings us to future agenda items. You've heard John tell us what our strategic plan work will look like next month. But are there any other, we'll have 3 policies from governance in January. Like John mentioned, we'll have a safety committee meeting right before this meeting, but it won't be on our agenda yet until February or even March. Anything else we should highlight?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to reflection, and this is our time to share what worked well about the meeting or what about the meeting would work better if. No prize for going first, but I'll happily take a volunteer.
Sean Berman.
Thank you.
I liked the worksheets. It helped keep me on track, and, you know, I don't know that I would have been tallying in my head,
Yeah.
and so that actually worked out well for me to make connections that I might not have made otherwise.
See, worksheets buy me a little time. I like it. Which direction we go? Katie Sanchez, what worked well about the meeting, or what would have worked better if?
The worksheets, but also just having like the chance to reflect after and like share out, is not something that we always do in these, and it worked.
Yeah, good. Sally?
It worked well to see the positives first, because that was very validating
yeah.
for me as a teacher and us as a school.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll focus on what needs to be improved, but it felt good to focus on the positives first.
I wondered too, because I thought, well, maybe we end on the positive. That feels better after you heard the. But yeah, okay, love it. Good. Houston.
I'm in the same boat as everyone else. This
Okay.
worked really well, because I think if we had just listened to the information, I wouldn't have processed it the same way. And then I also appreciated hearing that a lot of us are on the same page with a lot of it, which I think it's just nice to hear from everyone, just like Katie said.
Yeah, love it. AW plan.
Yeah.
Well said.
Hamster.
Hamster.
Celebrations work well for you
Still on the
tonight.
hamster thing. It's the best day ever.
You're on the wheel.
No, I like the way the chunks of the data is coming out.
Yeah. Oh, good. The drip. Yeah.
The drip works better than the whole.
Then a 5-hour workshop.
Yeah.
It sounds trivial, but I was a little warm, and then I'm a little cold now. And what would work better is if the thermostat stayed regular. I don't know what it's doing tonight. It's going up and down.
And we timed the cold, because the cold just set in, but I can hear the heat's kicked on, so it's like weird timing.
I mean, honestly, I guess a little uncomfortable, but I genuinely though what works well for me is an engaged group of board members who look at that data not as if it were trivial. I mean, I heard you all responding to the data as if the voices of our families really meant something. And I just want you to pause and recognize that, like, I don't think every boardroom in America looks at family data and goes, let's listen with both ears. And so I applaud that. I think that works well.
I actually really appreciated the first interim brief. I couldn't be at finance to hear the presentation. So I felt like I was able to catch up and understand it. It was nice to come into this setting without that. Actually, it was a reminder of being aware of who doesn't attend our meetings and what information they should have. So thank you for being so thorough in the report.
Always, yeah. Well done.
I agreed with the worksheets, and I appreciated that you wanted to hear our reflection and input.
Love that.
Yeah, I thought the data stuff was awesome. Even though the numbers were low, not as high as we would have liked. I still thought your summarization of the data was great.
Thank you. You want to play?
Yeah, just the conversation, everyone else from the closing notes.
Yeah, love it.
Perfect. That brings us to adjournment for tonight. So 8:12.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you. Did we miss the varsity basketball game that's over?
No, it's 42 minutes in.
Well, whoever needs to go watch that, go run, and we'll go. Get out of here. And take a cookie with you. Oh, I forgot to turn off the YouTubes. Sorry, everybody. Good night, Paul Jacob. Sorry, we were just goofing around there. I just forgot to turn.
Most important part of the
I almost
meeting.
walked away and left YouTube on. Good night, everybody.
Someone on
Right.
the